movie buffs? Welcome back to the Movie Bay. And in today's video, we're going to take a look at my top action movies of the 90s. So these are all of my favorite action movies. I might be missing a couple here and there, but for the most part, when you talk about 90s action movies, these are my go-tos. And again, like I said, I might be missing a couple here, a couple there, but just because they're not on this list don't mean they're not really good, but these are my go-to action movies. So without further ado, let's dive in and take a look at some action movie bangers from the 90s. And yeah, let's just dive in. Starting with Steven Seagal's Hard to Kill. Now, I keep it 100 with y'all. I love early Seagal. Later Seagal, he became a joke. But I gotta admit, I think like Hard to Kill, Above the Law, Out for Justice, Marked for Death, those were my favorites. Under Siege, the first one. He fell off. He had a nice rise, but when he started falling, he fell quick. So yeah, Hard to Kill. Definitely one of my favorite action movies of all time. One of. Die Hard. Die Hard. Absolutely. Die Hard. Die Hard 3. Die Hard 2 is not one of my favorites. I can do Die Hard 2. I can. But if you ask me what my favorites from Die Hard is, it's going to be 1 and 3. But I do like 2. But 2 is not my go-to for Die Hard movies. It's going to be 1 and 3 every time. Speaking of Seagal, Marked for Death. I'm trying to tell you, Seagal, when he first came on the scene, it was something different. And like I said, his first 4 or 5 movies, classics. Passenger 57. Yo, Wesley Snipes Wes had a nice little run too. Passenger 57, this was a banger. I love this. This is definitely one of my favorites. Here we go, Seagal. Under Siege. I'm talking about the first one. The second one was trash. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. That movie was trash. So Under Siege, this was a good movie. Hard Boiled. Yo. Hard Boiled. Yo, this. Oh man, this is like the gunplay in this was ridiculous. I mean, yo, Hard Boiled. How could you not bring this up? Universal Soldier. This was solid. I mean, it makes this list, but it was solid. You know what I mean? Universal Soldier. Jean-Claude had a little run. He had some good movies. The Corruptor. Chow Yun-Fat again. The Corruptor. This is a slept on banger right here. People don't really give this one. This movie got some flowers when it first came out, but over the years, this movie still hasn't really gotten the flowers it deserved. It's a really good movie. The Matrix, the first Matrix. One of the best action sci-fi movies of all times. Definitely one of the best sci-fi movies. And this movie The Matrix often get brought up only in sci-fi conversations. It's a hell of an action movie too. The gunplay in this is ridiculous. So with just a high level of gunplay in this, you got to classify The Matrix 1 and 2 as action movies. You have to. Sci-fi, science fiction action movies. You got to. The gunplay, and especially the first one, the gunplay is just stupid. End of Days. End of Days is one that catches a lot of flack, but I like End of Days for a couple of things. It's not really what you would call a traditional action movie, but I will call it an action movie because there is a little bit of gunplay, but it's Arnie. This is more of a, what the fuck would you classify this as? Like, it's not a thriller because we already know what's happening. So I'm just going to call it an action movie. If you guys disagree, this one is a loose action movie, but I enjoyed it. And what I really enjoyed about this one, it had a decent story to it. It was Arnie's first movie back from his open heart surgery, so he was a little rusty in this one, but it was still overall a decent movie. It definitely never got the flowers. I'm not sure if it really deserved flowers, but it never really got flowers. It's an all right movie. Here's one this is definitely one that didn't get the flowers it deserved. The people who know this movie give it flowers, but that's about it. We talking Ghost Dog, Forest Whitaker and Ghost Dog. Fantastic movie. So good, I had to get this on Criterion. I had to upgrade my Blu-ray, my DVD to grab this Criterion. Ghost Dog is a banging movie. You need to check this one out. Speed. This is this is the definition of an action movie, like non-stop. This movie, they on a bus and they got to keep it at a certain speed. This is just non-stop action. Wesley Snipes, Boiling Point. This movie right here, I'm telling you, when Wes had his run, he had his run. I'm trying to tell you. You got Dennis Hopper and Wesley Snipes. Let's see, Dennis Hopper's in this one. Good movie. Jean-Claude Van Damme, Hard Target. This is another one of my favorite Van Dammes. Very underrated, but I liked it. The original Blade. I'm going to put this down. You could actually do Blade 2. You could, because I do believe Blade 2 came out in the tail end of the 90s. So you could do Blade 2 if you wanted to, but I'm just really looking at Blade. Even though Blade 2 is probably more of an action movie than the first one. The first one was a good vampire movie. It had action in it, no doubt. But 2 had a lot more action. So you could do Blade 1 and 2. And I do believe Blade 2 came out, yeah, because me and my wife saw this when we first met. So yeah. This one came out, and they both came out in the 90s, so this will qualify. Trinity, I don't think so. All right, we got The Replacement Killers. You know what I mean? Chow Fat again. Air Force One, Harrison Ford as the President of the United States, who's also an action movie badass. We got Face Off, Nicolas Cage and John Travolta. A very unique action movie. You got to check this one out. If you never saw Face Off, you got to check this one out. The reason why it's called Face Off is literally they taking their faces off. If you saw the movie, you know what I'm talking about when I do that. I want to take his face off. My man was high as shit when he did that, wasn't he? All right. Con Air. The Rock. This is another good action movie. This is another good one. Probably one of Nicky Cage's best movies. I gotta check his filmography. He's got a very big filmography, but a lot of his stuff is B movies. A lot of it. He do got this is one of his major A movies, AA, AAA, whatever the fuck you want to call it. This is one of his more mainstream titles. I think this might even be his biggest mainstream movie. I gotta check. Or it could be like those National Treasure movies. Anyway, The Long Kiss Goodnight. Samuel L. Jackson did an interview and he said Mitch Hennessy. Now, up until that point, I don't know if you asked him today, would it still be Mitch Hennessy? But Sam Jackson did an interview, I guess maybe 10, 15 years ago. And he was asked, maybe 10 years ago, he was asked what was his favorite character that he played up until that point. And he said Mitch Hennessy from Long Kiss Goodnight. And I got to admit, Mitch Hennessy, to me, is one of Samuel L. Jackson's best characters. One of. I can't say it is his best because I would really have to dig through the crates. But I would say Mitch Hennessy is definitely one of his best characters. Geena Davis, Samuel L. Jackson, Brian Cox. Great cast in this movie. Lots of action. And it's a really good movie. Schwarzenegger makes the list again. Schwarzenegger is going to be all up in the 90s. Eraser. You got him, James Caan, and Vanessa Williams. Really good movie. He's a U.S. Marshal assigned to the WITSEC unit where he does witness protection, and he erases you. They is witness protection, then there's erasers. They are like the high end of if they get a hold of you, they erase you, you're gone. He can turn you into a ghost. Mission Impossible, the first Mission Impossible, definitely an action movie. Not in a traditional sense. The Mission Impossible movies, they're action movies, but they're not action movies in a traditional sense. Meaning it's not tons of gunplay, but it's still action. You know what I'm saying? True Lies. Arnie again. It's the 90s. What do you expect? Arnie, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Seagal, Speaking of Van Damme, Time Cop. Time Cop is a very And, you know, there's an upcoming 4K for that. I'll be passing because I have it on Blu-ray. You guys know I'm not into dropping Blu-rays for 4Ks, even though 4Ks are better. I don't care. If I didn't have this Blu-ray, I would definitely get that 4K for sure, but I'm good with this. Time Cop. This is a really good movie. It's about time. You know, going back in time, you know, changing the present. Good movie. Leon the Professional. Demolition Man. Black Dog. This is a good movie. This movie never really got the props it deserved either. This is a good movie. Robert De Niro in Ronin. One of the best car chase scenes in cinema history. Steven Seagal, Out for Justice. This is one of my favorite Seagals. Like I said, his first 4 or 5 films, yeah, all of them. I'll take them all, and I love them all equally. Like his first, let's see, Above the Law, Hard to Kill, Marked for Death. I do believe that's the order. I do believe. This, Under Siege, or it could have been Under Siege, then this one. Yeah, those are my favorites, those 5. Then there's a couple after that, like Fire Down Below. A lot of people didn't like that one. On Deadly Ground, a lot of people didn't like that one. I liked those. They was fine. But after those, I say his first 7 films. After that, he just started going downhill for real. Yeah, first 7. Terminator 2, Terminator 1, that's the 80s. But T2, definitely a banging ass action movie. So much more than an action movie, though. I mean, you got to admit, this is just so much more. Like the Terminator movies, the first 2, I'm just going to say, they give me almost horror movie vibes. You know what I'm saying? Almost. That's why I say, I look at the Terminator, the first 2 movies, and they give me like, especially the first one, they give me like horror movie vibes. For real, for real. Especially the first one. I would say the first one probably got more horror movie vibes than the second one. The second one is just more action. Tell me what you think of that one. And you could take both of these, The Last Boy Scout and Last Man Standing. My pick between the two, I'm going with Last Man Standing. Last Man Standing is a absolute banger. Absolute. But Last Boy Scout was good too. Bad Boys, the original Bad Boys. The original Bad Boys. One of my favorite movies, and definitely an action movie. Buddy cop, but there's still a lot of action in this movie. Lots of action. Yes. How could we not do this one? Wesley Snipes, Woody Harrelson, and Jennifer Lopez in Money Train. This is my favorite. Now, I know a lot of people love White Men Can't Jump. I do too. Don't get me wrong. I love White Men Can't Jump. But I don't know if I like this one, this collab between those two, or White Men Can't Jump. I don't know which one I like more. It's hard to say. I think I like Money Train just a little bit more. Even though White Men Can't Jump was my shit too. I don't know. I don't know. And Desperado. Desperado, this was all that. This was the movie that introduced me to Antonio Banderas, and I'm glad I got to see Antonio Banderas in action for the first time and get to see a few more movies with him in it. But yeah, this was the first time I seen Banderas. I don't know if this is his first movie. I don't know, but this is the first time I actually he was put on my radar with Desperado. So let's recap this and we'll close this video out. We got Desperado. These are all my favorite, my go-tos. 90s action movies. Bad Boys. You could take both of these. Last Man Standing and The Last Boy Scout. Terminator 2. Out for Justice. Hey, anybody seen Richie? I heard he did Bobby Lupo. Black Dog. Demolition Man. Leon the Professional. Time Cop. True Lies. Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible is more of a spy thriller than an action movie, but I just put it down. It's more of a spy thriller the more I think about it. It's not tons of gunplay, but it's still action in there. Definitely, it's definitely action. Some of the later installments in the Mission Impossible series, you could probably classify those as action movies. There's a lot more gunplay involved, but we'll leave it just the way it is for now. The Eraser, Long Kiss Goodnight, The Rock, Con Air, Money Train. This is a good movie right here. You need to check that one out. Robert De Niro in Ronin. Face Off. Air Force One. The Replacement Killers. Blade and Blade 2. You can put Blade 2. I think actually Blade 2 is probably more suited for an action movie list. Even though, again, there's a lot of action in 1. 2 got way more action. Way more. Because of what was the name of that little squad? It wasn't the Death Dealers. Because that's Underworld. Whatever that little squad was, yeah. Hard Target. Let's go back to Blade 2 real quick. Blade 2 is actually more... Now, Blade 2, speaking of action movies that can walk the line between horror movies like Terminator, the first Terminator, and a few others, Aliens, Alien 2, Blade 2 has got a lot of horror elements to it with those creatures. I mean, Blade 2 has got more horror elements than the first one. The first one was all out vampirism, but the second one, that had some creepy moments to it. So yeah, Blade 2 is a really, really good movie. Very different. It crossed a couple of different lines. Boiling Point. There's something rattling around in here. Oh, you know what it is? Shit. One of the teeth broke off and it's rattling around. All right. It's time to replace that DVD and find that movie on Blu-ray at least. Speed. Ghost Dog. End of Days. The Matrix. The Corruptor. Universal Soldier. Hard Boiled. Under Siege. Passenger 57. Marked for Death. Die Hard 3. And Hard to Kill. Those are my favorite movies from the favorite action movies from the 90s. There's probably a few more not mentioned. And again, when I make these lists are based off of movies that are in my collection. So I know some people say, well, where's this one? Well, where's that one? There's a good chance I don't have that one. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.